Okay, let's see if we can hear these brakes squeak. Hear that annoying sound? Okay. Hello YouTubers. Today we're working on this 2012 Kia Optima. And we're going to be changing front rotors and the front brake pads. I did a brake job for this customer a few months ago, and then he called me about 2 months later that the brakes were squeaking. So I came over last week and I told him the only thing I can think it's probably because you got new brake pads and new hardware. The only thing I could think was maybe his rotors are glazed. So I came last week, took him off, took him to O'Reilly, but they couldn't turn them. They were out of spec. They were too thin. So he went ahead and ordered the brake pads and the rotors. So that's what we're doing today. And hopefully that'll stop the squeaking. Okay, first of all, I want to open the reservoir so we don't have any pressure on the brake reservoir here. And we're good. We might have to suck out some fluid. Then let's go over here and take the tire off. Okay, sometimes these have to go in a certain way, but I just put a little mark that I can erase right there, so when I put it back I can line it up and not have a lot of trouble. Let's jack it up. And these are 21 millimeter. All right. First of all, I want to take a screwdriver and wedge it here between the rotor and the brake caliper and pull on it. I'm trying to compress that piston a little bit. Just grab really anywhere where you can push that piston back in. Now we're gonna go after these two 14 mil bolts. And when you do these bolts, sometimes this, like a nut here, will want to turn. Just take the right wrench and hold it. But what I do is I take a screwdriver and just put pressure on it like this, and that'll keep it from spinning while you loosen this bolt. Let's take it off. Two little bolts. They should come off. Yep. And I'm gonna set it on that outer tie rod. And see, the pads ain't worn out completely. He still has some meat on there, but I'm sure the rotors were glazed. And we'll be changing this hardware too. It can be a pain in the rear sometimes. It makes it hard to put the brakes in then. Now we're gonna go for these two bolts right here, 17 mil. And they are on their tight. Usually they have Loctite, so I'm gonna get my breaker bar to do those. Okay, I got the top one and it was very tight. Go with this one. Yeah, that breaker bar makes easy work. Okay. The top one I couldn't fit this, so I did it with the wrench, so it gave me a hard time, but got it loose. Alrighty. There's one. Top one. Out comes the bracket. Now let me show you something else that can be a pain in the rear. And I'll use some of the old footage from last week. Now let me show you something. These set screws are useless. They're only put on there in the assembly line to keep the rotor in place. Once it comes off the assembly line, they're useless. If you try to take them off with this, a lot of people strip them. They're loose right now because I left them loose last week. I take them off and I throw these things. They're useless. They're gonna come back and bite you in the rear when you strip them. Look at that one. It's almost stripped. Let me take it off so you can see it. One day, if you keep them in there, you're gonna strip them and you can't take that rotor off. You're gonna have to drill them out. Look at that. I've seen a lot of them like that. They're useless, throw them away. This is what I'm gonna, people think it holds the rotor in. What holds the rotor in is your tire and 5 lug nuts. Boom. That tire, rotor ain't going nowhere. Some people say it keeps the rotor from shifting, you know, left and right. Studs ain't gonna let it shift. Look, the whole knuckle turns, the whole assembly there turns. They're useless. They're only there to keep that while it's in the assembly line. Guys, throw them away because they're gonna come back and bite you in the rear. These are on there tight. And you don't know how many people I have come to me and tell me that, you know, hey, I stripped the little screws on there. You can tell these have been messed with. I even tried. They take up Phillips, and if you see that they're not coming loose and you're starting to strip it, stop right there, because you're gonna be lucky if you get them off with that. Get one of these tools. It's an impact screwdriver. It will make the job a lot easier. I've had this one for years, but I'm gonna say they're about under $20 or so. You find the right bit. It's got a screwdriver and Phillips. This one will need a Phillips. And the way this works is you put it on here and then you hit it with a hammer, and you're gonna shock that screw, and it'll break loose. It'll break the rust. When you hit it, it'll break that rust and also cause it to start turning. This is a cheaper version. It only turns left. You've got some that have a L and a right, so you can turn it to the right or left, but this one just turns to the left. Let me show you how it works. As you can see, that little screw's kind of damaged already. So, see how this works? Just put it on there and hit it. There, see, it came loose. Do the same thing through the bottom one. There. This does the jobs every time. Invest 15, 20 bucks. I don't know what this thing costs, but look how easy they came out. Okay, let me take this rotor up. Okay, here are the new brake pads and the rotors. Brake pads, yep, those are the right ones. Comes with hardware. And let's check out the rotor. Here's the first rotor. Match up the holes. Perfect. Check out the diameter. Perfect. Let's look at that little hub. Yep. That looks good. Now we can go ahead and open it. Okay, when you get new rotors, make sure you use brake clean on them, because they come with the thin film of lubricant. So I guess when they're in storage or being shipped, they won't rust. If you don't, you're probably gonna get some squealing out of them. You spray them down like this. Take a clean rag. Wipe that excess off. Same thing on the back. And I'm using the brake part cleaner. I always like to make sure they're cleaned real good, so we won't get no squeaky. Get those crisscross lines on there. Right, that one's ready. Like I said, don't worry about them dang set screws, unless you want to end up fighting them later on in the future. I'm gonna put one of these on there so I can put that bracket, and these are kind of, this lug nut's gonna serve as the set screw. It keeps it there for me to be able to work on it. And check these slide pins that they go in and out, which these do. If they don't, take them out, grease them up, and then put them back, or you might need to buy some new ones. Okay. Okay, let's go on with the bracket. Okay. Okay, now let's grab the breaker bar and put some hurt on it, because you want these on super tight. I didn't use Loctite, but I've never had an issue with them falling out. I'm working on the field and I didn't bring my Loctite, but as long as you put some hurt on them, I've never had these come out. That's a grain going over. The other one I have to get with the wrench. Okay, this one I'm having to use a wrench, so I'm wedging this pry bar down here where I won't damage anything, and I'm putting the hurt to that wrench. Make sure it's tight. That's good enough. Okay, let's put the hardware. I hate doing this. Hate putting new hardware in there. It's always pain in the rear. See, that's I don't want to go in. Come on. Finally, there. It'll snap in there. You know you're in. Let's do the bottom one. Got one side in, but this other side doesn't. There we go. Good. Okay. New brake pads, and what I do is it's got this little warning clip, the wear clip. I always put the wear clip in the inside. And when you put these on, you kind of want to go in at an angle like this. Put the front end first. And then turn it in there. Okay? Because if you try to go like this, it's going to be hard. Let me get the camera on this side. Okay, see, I'm going in like this. Getting it in here and here. Boom. Once it's in there, then I slide it in there. All right, let's compress that piston. They have all kinds of tools to compress those pistons, but I'm gonna use this tool. You can get it just about anywhere. I think last time I used the channel locks, but let's give this guy a whirl. This is my least favorite tool to compress these, but I guess it'll work. I just turn it. Yeah, no, I'm not too crazy about this tool. It's gonna be a while, so I'll film when I get down here. Okay, something's going on with that caliper. We might have to check into it later. It was so hard to turn with that other tool that I busted out the C-clamp, and I'm having to put a wrench here for leverage. But it got to a stage. Look, now it's so simple to put in, but we need to suck out some fluid. Reservoir's almost gonna overflow. And guys, that's one reason I hate working out in the field. You always forget that one tool you need. I have nothing to suck it out with, so I'm just using paper towels and let the paper towel absorb some of that brake fluid. There we go. We should be all right there. See how easy it is to turn on? I don't know what was going on. And piston was trying to get stuck in there, but Guess I broke it loose because gave it up. And I don't have my quiet brake with me either, so hopefully these won't squeak. Okay, we got the wheel back on. Let's see how hard it is to put this sucker back on. Okay. Perfect. See? Now we'll just clean that off. Nothing a little brake clean won't take care of. Look at that. Look at that. Let's bring it down. All right, let's check the reservoir. It's kind of a little too much, but let me put the cap on and we'll pump the brakes and see if it goes down. Always pump your brakes when you do a brake job. You need to get that fluid back on the line and to the caliper. Look, the pedal's gonna go all the way down. And if you take off after a brake job without pumping it, you're gonna probably run into something. Look at that, no brakes at all. About 3-4 pumps. There, they're hard. Let's check the reservoir. We got bigger pads on, so we should be okay. Yeah, we're still good. We're within the line there. All right, test drive time. Always double check your work. Make sure your cap's on tight. Tightened all the lug nuts. All the brake caliper and everything's tight. All right, ladies and gentlemen, no more squeaking. Check it out. Hitting the brake here. Just kidding. Better quit joking around, huh? There we go again. They would have squeaked by now. Time to take it on home. No squeak. Find the brake. Awesome. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. Again, like always, I appreciate you and God bless you.